What if I told you the Dallas Cowboys might be quietly lining up a move that could completely change the identity of their defense next season, and almost nobody is talking about it yet? A move that wouldn't just add depth, but could seriously transform how aggressive, fast, and unpredictable this defense becomes. Because there's a name starting to circulate around league circles. A name coming out of Pittsburgh. A name that fits exactly what Dan Quinn used to crave, and what Mike Zimmer has always loved in his defenses. That name is Nick Herbig. And yes, the idea of Nick Herbig going from the Steelers to the Cowboys is very real, very interesting, and potentially very impactful. Now, before anyone jumps into the comments saying, "Who?" or "Why would Dallas even look at him?" stay with me, because once you connect the dots, this starts to make way too much sense. The Cowboys' defense is at a crossroads right now. Micah Parsons is still the centerpiece, still the superstar, still the engine that makes everything go. But behind him, there are questions. Real questions. Questions about depth, about flexibility, about who can consistently get after the quarterback when Micah is doubled, chipped, slid toward, and game planned against every single week. Dallas has relied heavily on Micah, creating chaos and hope that others clean up. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. And when it doesn't, we've seen offenses sit comfortably in the pocket and pick this defense apart. That's the problem the Cowboys need to solve. And Nick Herbig might be the kind of solution that doesn't make headlines at first, but pays off massively on Sundays. Let's talk about who Nick Herbig actually is, because this isn't some random name. He's not a flashy superstar, not a household name, but he's one of those players coaches absolutely love and offenses absolutely hate. Herbig came into the league with a reputation for high motor, relentless effort, and versatility. He's not just a one-role guy. He can rush off the edge, he can stand up, he can drop into coverage when needed, and most importantly, he plays with that nonstop intensity that changes games in subtle ways. In Pittsburgh, he's been buried behind established names and a deep rotation, but every time he's on the field, he pops. He's disruptive. He's slippery. He finds ways to affect the quarterback even when he's not getting sacks. And that matters more than most fans realize. Pressure is contagious. It forces bad throws, rushed reads, and turnovers. Dallas thrives on turnovers. That's how this defense is built. And adding someone like Herbig could multiply that effect. Now think about the Cowboys' current defensive situation. There's talent, no doubt. But there's also uncertainty. Contracts coming up. Aging veterans. Young players who haven't fully developed yet. Dallas is going to need cheap, controllable, high-energy defenders who can rotate in and keep the pass rush fresh. Nick Herbig checks every one of those boxes. He's still young. He's still hungry. He's still trying to prove himself. And those are dangerous players in the best possible way. What makes this potential move even more interesting is the Steelers' side of the equation. Pittsburgh has always been strong at developing linebackers and edge rushers. Sometimes that means talented players get squeezed out simply because there aren't enough snaps to go around. When that happens, teams start listening to offers. Not because they want to get rid of a player, but because the value makes sense. And if Dallas comes calling with the right mid-round pick or player swap, this is exactly the kind of trade that quietly gets done without much noise, then explodes in value later. From a scheme perspective, this is where it gets really exciting. Mike Zimmer loves linebackers who can disguise pressure, who can blitz from different angles, who can make quarterbacks hesitate just long enough for the pass rush to get home. Herbig fits that philosophy perfectly. Imagine Micah Parsons lining up on one side, Nick Herbig creeping up on the other, with the offense unsure who's actually coming. That split second of hesitation? That's sacks. That's strip fumbles. That's tipped balls turning into interceptions. And let's be honest, Dallas hasn't always maximized its pressure packages. Too often it's been predictable. Micah rushes. Everyone else reacts. But adding another chess piece like Herbig allows the Cowboys to get creative again. Stunts. Delayed blitz. Zone blitz looks that turn into all-out pressure. This is the stuff that wins playoff games, not just regular season matchups. Another thing people overlook is special teams. Nick Herbig brings value there too. He's the kind of player who contributes in multiple phases, which matters when you're building out the bottom half of the roster. Dallas has lost games because of small mistakes, missed tackles, poor coverage. Players like Herbig reduce those mistakes because they play disciplined, assignment-sound football. Coaches trust them. That trust translates into more snaps, more opportunities, and more impact. Now let's address the big question. Why would Dallas target him specifically instead of a bigger name? Simple. Cost and fit. Big names come with big contracts and big expectations. Dallas doesn't need another headline defender. They need complementary pieces that elevate the stars they already have. Herbig doesn't need to be the guy. He just needs to be a guy who makes life easier for Micah Parsons and the rest of the defense. And that's a role he can absolutely thrive in. There's also the mental aspect. Pittsburgh defenders are known for toughness, discipline, and preparation. Bringing that mentality into the Cowboys locker room matters. It sets a tone. It reinforces accountability. And it adds another voice in the huddle who knows what playoff-caliber defense is supposed to look like. Dallas has been close, but close isn't enough anymore. They need edges, literally and figuratively. If this trade happens, don't expect ESPN to lead with it. Don't expect breaking news banners and dramatic graphics. This would be one of those moves that fans shrug at in March and rave about in November. The kind of move where you look back and say, how did we not see this coming? Because once you see Herbig flying around in a Cowboys uniform, disrupting plays, forcing hurried throws, and freeing up Micah to do even more damage, it'll feel obvious in hindsight. And think about the depth chart implications. Rotations get deeper. Snap counts get healthier. Parsons doesn't have to play hero ball every single down. That keeps him fresher late in games and late in the season. We've seen what happens when Micah is exhausted in January. That can't happen again. The Cowboys need to protect their most valuable defensive asset, and adding help is the smartest way to do that. There's also a psychological edge to stealing talent from a franchise like Pittsburgh. It sends a message that Dallas is serious about defense, serious about competing with the physical teams in the league, and serious about evolving. For too long, the Cowboys have been labeled as flashy but soft. Moves like this challenge that narrative. They show a willingness to grind, to get dirty, to win in the trenches. Now, nothing is official. This is still in the realm of possibility, not confirmation. But the logic is there. The fit is there. The need is there. And the timing makes sense. Dallas is searching for smart, efficient upgrades. Pittsburgh has depth. That's how trades happen. And if it goes through, this could be one of those under-the-radar deals that ends up being a turning point for the Cowboys' defense. So keep an eye on this. Because if you wake up one morning and see Nick Herbig wearing a star on his helmet, don't be surprised. And don't underestimate it. This could be the kind of move that doesn't just add a player, but transforms the way offenses prepare for Dallas every single week. If you're excited about the idea of this trade, let me know in the comments. Do you think Nick Herbig could thrive in Dallas? Or do the Cowboys need to aim even bigger? And if you enjoy deep dive Cowboys content like this, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications because things are heating up fast in Dallas, and you don't want to miss what comes next.